Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So my name is Chelsea for those of you who are new here, and if you're returning, welcome back. Today I am here with another client tutorial. I'm giving you natural, I'm giving you clean. My client really wanted a nice fresh look for a wedding that she is going to, so that's what we're doing today. I'm starting on her brows. I always do natural brows on my clients, make them a little bit darker or lighter depending on what they want. But since she is going to a wedding, it was appropriate to do, obviously, nice, light, and clean brows. So that's what you see me doing here. I'm just connecting the tails together and then lightly filling that in with short strokes, long strokes towards the end. And then you're going to see me make hair-like strokes towards the beginning of the brow. And obviously I'm going to do the same exact thing to the right side. Sometimes brows can be difficult, sometimes they're two different shapes, but you just have to find the arch, find the tail, and then make the hair-like strokes in the beginning, and you'll see that they kind of will look the same, or as close to looking the same as they can. So as you can see, I'm obviously doing the right brow. Now I'm going to go ahead and start concealing. I kind of cut out some of the footage of me concealing the top of the brow, you'll see, but it was just because I was in the way, so I was like, there's no point. But I am going in with the matte concealer and a flat brush from Morphe, and I'm just making sure the lines are really crisp and straight before I drag the concealer down and like blend it down. And then I'm obviously going to do the same exact thing to the other side. I debated if I should just keep both of the eyebrows I did, or if I should just show one eye, but I ended up doing both because just for the sake of the video, I want everything to be cohesive and like for everyone to just see the process of doing a full face. So that includes doing both eyes. Okay, I'm rambling a little bit. Anyways, yeah. You see me dragging the product, making sure it's crisp. So this is pretty self-explanatory. I'm just dragging the concealer down and buffing it in between the eyebrows, you know, around the edges so it can be nice and blended when you do your foundation and your concealer. And I'm just patting it in. You don't really want to swipe, you want to pat it in. You don't want to swipe or drag makeup ever on someone's face. But now I'm just fixing the brow a little bit because it was driving me a little bit crazy. And I like to show some of my mistakes in here as well because then I can show you how to fix them. So now you can see me applying the P. Louise base, and I'm just buffing it in for eyelids. And now I'm going to take this brown shade from Morphe, the Juvia's Place Warrior 2 palette, and I'm just patting that in the lid on the outer corner specifically. And what you're going to want to do is, I'm not really dragging it, but I am kind of moving my brush so that I am kind of low-key finessing the blend while I'm patting. I don't know if you can notice, but I am mostly using tapping motions to blend out the eyeshadow. And I'm going to go ahead and blend out the right side. I was mostly recording it like this just so you guys can see me apply the right side, but you've seen me turn the brush and buff it just like that. And then you're going to want to take your transition shade, and I like to start in the front and kind of like pre-contour in the inner area where the nose bridge starts to go down with the transition shade. And then I like to buff out the edges. You see me buffing out the edges and just going back and forth with that brush. It's always best to pat in, you know, how you describe it, just pat your eyeshadow in place because you don't want it to move, you don't want to get messy. And then now I'm adding the P. Louise base back onto the lid, and I'm just covering exactly where I want the shimmery eyeshadow to be. And I feel like laying down the base helps the eyeshadow appear more pigmented, and it will help it stick better to the lid. And I would just recommend you add this to your step. It might level up your eyeshadow game. So get on it. And then now I am patting on this beautiful gold shade from the Jackie Aina palette, and I'm just patting it on, making sure all the areas where I added the base is covered, because sometimes you will be able to see it underneath if you don't really pat it in. So that's what I'm just doing here, and then I'm also going to do the other side, obviously. So now I'm adding this really pretty pigment from Jlarue Cosmetics in the shade White Gold. It's like it just adds more dimension, and like, you just see, look at it. I mean, it just adds more sparkle, doesn't do too much. Like, I love it. It's like the perfect eyeshadow topper. I mean, you can use it on its own, but I really prefer topping it on top of shadows. And yeah, it adds a perfect little dash of glam. Now I'm just buffing out the edges with the same brown that we used at the beginning from the Warrior 2 palette. And I'm going to go ahead and line the eyes with the Inglot 77 gel liner. I skipped the whole putting on lashes part because it was just a mess. It was really hard to show it on screen, so I just cut that part out. And now I'm applying foundation. Let me get it together real quick. I'm applying foundation with my Real Techniques brush. I'm going ahead and buffing out the edges and making sure that everything is pushed into the skin. Tap, push, no dragging, no swiping, none of that. You want the product to stay in place. And now I'm just going ahead with concealer. Obviously, this is my MAC concealer. Love her. She's cute. I'm going ahead and applying this under the eyes, bringing it upward, and connecting it to the top of the lip, and also doing the same exact thing to the right side. And I'm going to add another, just a shade lighter in the inner corner of the eyes with the same matte concealer, just to brighten up the under eyes a little bit, and as well as the bridge of the nose and the forehead. Now it's time for a little bit of contouring. I'm just tapping that contour shade from the black opal stick onto her skin. Usually when the client tells me they don't want big lashes, I just automatically decide not to do heavy contours. So I'm just tapping the product from the brush, and from the brush I tap directly onto the foundation stick. So I'm not putting the foundation stick on her skin. I'm just using it from the product that's picked up on the brush, so it can be more light, more controllable, and more natural, because that's what we're going for here. And now I'm going to go ahead and blend the under eye concealer. I'm starting with the edges of the concealer using the foundation brush. It has the leftover foundation on it, so it allows it to blend seamlessly into your base. And I'm just tapping the product in. Tap, 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 tap. That's all I'm going to tell you guys in most of these tutorials. When it comes to skin, you need to tap the product in. Here we go. So now going ahead with the setting brush, and I am just, what am I doing? I'm tapping. I'm tapping the concealer in place. Okay? You don't want it to move. It will keep its coverage. And I love using the setting brush because it doesn't pick up all the coverage the way a sponge would, but there is a time and a place for a sponge. So yeah, I'm just going ahead and blending that out. Now we're about to give sis a snatch contour. I'm just patting in the contour along the nose, and At the top, that's when I'm going to kind of drag. Oh, I don't use that word. I wouldn't say drag, but I would say I'm buffing it in a different manner. But we're already moved on, so I'm pressing this little Mercier powder. It's such a it's such an exact match for her skin that you can't even see it show up on screen. But I mean, you can see it there and there. So yes, I'm using the same color powder as her skin tone to set underneath the eyes and around the mouth and just all the areas where I applied concealer. And then the areas where I want more highlight, more depth, more, not depth, but like where I want the light to hit a little bit differently, I'm adding the translucent powder. So that's around the dome of her forehead. Again, I'm setting the chin and around the mouth because she did say that she creases easily around there. So I just set it a second time. The first time I was really just pressing the powders into her skin. And I'm going ahead and setting a little bit underneath the contour, like how I told you guys in my last video. Again, if you haven't watched that video, it'll be linked up there or in the description box. I like to pre-bake the contour. And now I'm just pressing some of this CoverGirl Ebony bronzer into the skin. It's a really pretty bronzer for chocolate girls. And I'm making her smile when I apply this, and I'm buffing it in the upwards motion to make sure that I'm not dragging the the bronzer down. I'm bringing it up. I'm lifting the face. I'm getting the shapes and the shadows that I want. So yeah, I'm just tapping that into the skin, and I'm letting the nose contour bake while I do this. It's really the only thing I like to let bake for that long. Like, honestly, I don't like baking underneath the contour for that long. In this video, I literally let it sit for probably 10 seconds, if that. And now I'm going ahead with the powder to set the cream contour that we did for the nose. And you really want to start from the top of the brow and then drag, pat it down. See how I'm doing it in this clip? I'm not dragging. And then I'm going to go ahead and bake that nose contour with the sponge. In the last video I used another tool, but I'm just showing you how versatile your tools can be. And I'm just baking a little bit under the contour. Like I said, I did not let this stay long at all. Just a little tip, let your clients smile when you do these things with the cheeks, because I really feel like it helps with placement. It might be annoying for them, but I don't think it's annoying to smile, so that's why I don't mind asking them to continually do it. So just, you know, just say, hey, do you mind smiling? Select the bake. Hey, do you mind smiling to apply some blush? Hey, do you mind smiling to apply some highlighter? It's just three little moments, and it's worth it. And I'm just brushing away that powder that's been sitting there. And as you can see, it snatched her nose right up. Period. And now we're applying this, I think it's like a filter pressed powder by Morphe. You can't really see the difference through the camera, but in person it really does blur the skin. And I'm adding blush from the Juvia's Place. I forget which palette this is exactly, but I will list it in the description box below. And I'm adding some Inglot Gel 77 liner into the waterline. I'm not going to add any shadow to the bottom line because I don't want the look to become really smoky. So I'm just going to go ahead and apply the mascara and leave it at that. Setting spray, and then after setting spray, I'm going to go ahead and highlight right away. And I'm going to ask her to smile to apply the highlight, so when she smiles it looks like she's glowing from within. It is a really pretty effect, so I'm just patting the highlighter on. Now I'm going to use my lip liner by NYX in the shade Espresso to line her lips. This is my go-to lip liner, but I'm honestly going to try different types of lip liners and different techniques. So maybe in my next video I'll show you guys how to line your lips with the brown liquid lipstick instead. And I'm just applying this liquid lipping from Kat Von D. I forget the shade of it. And I'm blending it with my whip brush from Morphe. And I'm going to go ahead and try something different that I never usually do. I'm going to go ahead and add, it's a white shade from the Juvia's Place palette. I'm patting it right in the center because I want like an ombre effect, especially under the gloss. But even without a gloss, it'd be a really pretty lip combo. And the powder also kind of sets it in place, so that's another tip too. Don't be afraid to use different shadows, different products for different things. There's no rules to makeup. You can practically do whatever you want as long as it's safe for that body part, like your eyes. But anyways, that's the end of the tutorial. Make sure you subscribe to this channel with your bell notifications on so you do not miss another upload. And I'll see you guys next week in my next video. Thanks for watching. Bye!